things in your life. My name is Amy Ballantyne. Welcome to Power to the People Pleasers. I'm so excited to have my guest, Victor, here today. Victor, welcome.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. I'm excited for our conversation.
Yeah, super excited to be on the show.
So you are a man of many hats. I didn't write all the hats down, but so if there's the hats I'm missing, you let me know. But president of an IT company, construction company, author. You are passionate about technology and self improvement. What else? How else would you add into that for things that are important? People need to know about you.
I love helping people. I mean, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You know, a lot of these ventures that I get into aren't even my ventures. They're other people's
Mm,
ventures that I just kind of got in there to help them out. You know, my wife's a perfect example. Never been a business owner, and she's got this amazing company, and I helped her start it, and we're partners in it. So yeah, I'm a student. I love learning.
yes.
One of the reasons why I wrote the book that I'm sure we're going to talk about is because I had so much knowledge that I thought so many people, including my own children,
Mm,
could take advantage of, that I
mm.
sat down one day and I wrote it.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, let's dive right into that. I know I wanted to ask, you have a story about feeling like you were missing out on things in your life that
Mhm.
caused you to shift. Can you share that first?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time. So I come from an entrepreneurial household.
Okay.
Both my parents owned businesses since I was young, right? And I saw the ups and downs of an entrepreneur. I saw my dad at the best times of his life, and I saw my dad at the worst times of his life. So growing up, one of the things that I had planted in my mind was I am never going to own a business. I'm going to go
Wow.
to school. I am going to study hard. And I got my bachelor's degree and I was super happy. I come out and I started working and I did really well. I was a chief information officer for a $55 million a year construction company at the age of
Mm.
27.
Wow.
So I was great, but there was something missing. I don't know how to explain it. Still to this day, I can't put words around it. But I had some sort of void. I saw how much good I was doing for the ownership of
Mm.
these companies, and that company was not the only one. That was just a pinnacle in my life, right? Achieving such a level at such a young age. So as I went through life, I had other C-level positions. I ended up being a president of a company for two business owners. I helped them exit that. I saw how great it was to have an exit of a company.
Mm.
And at a certain point, I said, you know what? I was like 40 years old. And I said, I am going to give it a shot. I know it's something that I implanted in my mind that I didn't do, but I was going to do it everything. I sold my house and I started an adventure of owning my own business. And it was a terrible 4 or 5 years. And so that savings account just started going down, 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 down. But here I am today, super happy, would not
Mm.
have it any other way.
Wow. Wow. So very, very interesting. So the thing that you were missing in life was what? Not having the chance to be an entrepreneur?
I equate it to having a child. When you own a
Mm.
business, it's like having a child. It's something you put a lot of work in. It's work that is stressful, it's time consuming, but the reward of creating
Mhm.
something from nothing is more than I can put words to, right?
Wow.
So that's what I was missing because I've built teams, I've built revenue streams, I've built so much stuff for other owners, but it wasn't
Mhm.
mine, right?
Yeah.
Even though I had a partner, it wasn't mine. And even now, my companies are nowhere near $55 million a year in the big businesses that I used to be an executive of, but they're growing and it's
Amazing.
all mine. And I'm super proud of it.
Oh, so cute. That's so great. So, when you think about some of your big lessons, you talk about being an overachiever. What are some of your key lessons that you learned on this journey of being an employee and then shifting to following? I'm missing something in my life, so I'm going to go after this. Being an entrepreneur. What are those
There's a
key lessons?
lot. There's a lot. The one that comes to mind right off the top is failure. And we could
Mm,
have an entire podcast discussion around failure, right? I think that
mhm,
failure was something I was scared of, to be completely honest with you, something that I feared because I saw my father's downs, right? They were
mhm,
terrible when he was in that valley. Um, but early on, in my career, I started reanalyzing failure, and I started seeing it not so much as a detriment, but more as a life lesson, right? Now I
Mhm.
know what not to do. Believe it
Yeah.
or not, and little by little, you start learning what works and what doesn't. And if you
Mhm.
take that, some people define that as a growth mindset instead of
Mhm.
a fixed mindset, right? Having a growth mindset, you're always looking to push the envelope to what you're capable of, and failure's okay because you
Yeah.
know what? Now you learn something new and you just keep going. But I
Mhm.
was definitely a fixed mindset back in the day where I just wanted a check. I wanted to be safe, you know, and
Mhm.
there's a lot to be said for that. But then as
Mhm.
I grew, I switched that mindset to I want to do more. There's just something out there that I want to do. And I
Mhm.
learned to accept failure.
Wow, that's big. That's big. And what about I know a number of the clients that I work with when I am digging into that energy of what am I missing out on in life, part of it is the desire to have more connection with family. Was that ever a thing for you?
I was really big in family and always had a really good connection with
Mhm.
my family. Of course, connections grow over time. Like the more
Mhm.
time, more you put into them, they change in life. So I always put family as a very important piece of my life. Even when
Mm.
I was struggling through the entrepreneurship process, I made sure to shield my children from it. I did not want to know as much as I knew growing up. Right. I
Mm.
wanted to let the kids kind of be kids.
Yeah.
So I sheltered them from my wife, very important, right? You're in a very stressful time in your life. You're growing this business. You really want to try to nurture more of that relationship so you don't start affecting it. I think that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that make that mistake. They go
Mm.
and they start understanding what success is, but then they let their health go. They let their
Mhm.
relationships go. They let their kids go. Then you got other problems that you have to deal with. And eventually you start putting your focus on those problems that you created by not focusing them on to begin with. And now your business
Mhm.
starts to fail, right? So
Yeah.
you have to give your energy in all parts of your life, and relationship was really, really important.
Mhm. And talk to me, you shared when we had that first time to meet that taking care of yourself was a big part of being a successful entrepreneur. What were
Yeah,
some of the things that you were doing?
yeah. Well, there's a lot. There's different aspects of taking care. The book goes around and actually tries to or does a good job of grouping things into health, clarity, peace, and power. Right, and
Okay.
health is your nutrition and fitness. Right, if your body's not taken care of, and there's two pieces to taking care of your
Mhm.
body, which is your nutrition and your fitness, and you don't have to do a lot. We're not talking about being supermodels or bodybuilders, right? We're just talking
Right.
about having good blood pressure, having a good weight. You know, I'm a little overweight right now, and I'm working on it. Right, just being cognizant of that stuff.
Mhm.
That's really important because without a good body, there's a lot you can't do. Then there's clarity of mind, and what does that mean? Well, clarity is around effective routines, learning how to put
Mhm.
routines into your life that will actually keep your mind clear so you could be the best version of yourself
Mhm.
is really important, right? So having that
Mhm.
in your life. Then peace of heart, and it goes back to mental health, and it goes
Mhm.
to relationships, right? So having a peaceful heart and having good relationship, having a support structure, something that's super important. Many entrepreneurs are just laser focused on their things, and you can't understand how important it is to have these mentors in your life and support
Mhm.
structure in life. You have to build that.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And then power goes back around to continuously learning, right? I read a lot.
Mm.
I'm out there trying to learn. I am never the smartest person in the room, and I accept that. I love
Mhm.
surrounding myself with people that are more intelligent or have a larger knowledge base of things that I don't.
Yeah.
So those are the four pinnacle things that I think I learned to put into my life to make
Mhm.
me that better person.
Amazing, amazing. Can you tell me a little bit more about the peace I think you said peace of heart?
Mhm. Yeah.
I'd love to know, you know, about this mentor. Like you've had obviously had a mentor or some who was the most influential for you?
So I discuss in the book. I discuss that there's really three types of mentors you need at a minimum in your life. You know, if you
Mhm.
go reading like Napoleon Hill, he actually has like this round table. It's an
Mhm.
imaginary round table, and he gets like Abraham Lincoln. He gets all these
Yeah.
people that he's very impressed with, and he brings them in, and he goes and meditates on it. And when he has problems, he starts thinking through. So you know that's a way to deal with it. I like real
Mhm.
people. Excuse me. So there's three types of mentors that I think every person should have. One is a family, someone that you can get really close to and you could tell them your deepest, darkest secrets, right? You need someone to talk to. That could be your wife. For me, I had a couple, right? It was my wife, it was my father. They're just people that I can talk to about things that nobody else knows about. Then there's that person that is a business coach. I am part of a Vistage group, which is a group of professionals, CEOs, and presidents that meet once a month, and we talk about our business problem. And that group, I mean, they're like my brothers and sisters in that group, right? We
Amazing.
got really close. We trust each other. We tell each other all the problems that we're having in our business, and it helps. It helps a lot.
Mhm.
My chair, Ken, is not only someone that is a great confidant for business. He knows everything about every single one of my business, but he's also a really great friend. And I talk to him
Mhm.
about a lot of business stuff that goes in it. And then you need someone spiritual.
Mhm.
Again, spiritual has many meanings.
Yeah.
My spirituality has changed from when I was a little kid, growing up in a Roman Catholic home, all the way to where I am
Right.
today. But you need someone to be at that level with you. My wife is that person for me, right?
Mhm.
And we have really in-depth conversations around a lot of spiritual stuff. So those three are the three types of mentors that everyone should have in their life.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So you mentioned in your bio that you've read an enormous amount of books.
Mhm.
You dropped the name of Napoleon Hill. Aside from him, what has been the book that really helped you in that entrepreneurial journey?
Oh my goodness, in the
Aside from your
entrepreneurial
own.
journey, that's a really good one. So there's a favorite book of mine which is called The Great Game of Business.
Mm,
The name of the author escapes me right now, but
that's okay.
that book, it talks about a factory that's in somewhere in the United States that was owned by this big conglomerate, and the factory wasn't doing that well.
Mm,
So the big conglomerate decided to shut down that factory.
mm,
The executives of that factory went to the bigger holding company and says, listen, what if we bought the factory from you? So they
mhm,
got together with all the employees, and everyone mortgaged their house and scrounged up all the money. They got the factory for a bargain because it owed a lot of money. So they pretty much bought it for all the debts that
right.
the factory had. But the beautiful part of the story is everyone in there started understanding the numbers of the business to a point
Mhm,
where they started measuring everything. And
mhm,
I'm not going to give away a lot, but there's a lot of stories in there about measuring something that somebody would never think about measuring that actually had a real effect on the bottom line of the business, and how you
mhm.
actually do all the calculating, putting it together by person, by department, to all the way down to the P&L of the company, so that you
Wow.
can actually drive the company just by knowing some ridiculous number that you never thought was important. That
Wow.
really affected me. I'm a very analytical person, so I like counting things in the business. A
I can
lot of
tell.
business owners, what do they count? Revenue, gross margin, net profit. That's it.
Mm,
Well, those are three great numbers, but there's so many other driving factors to those three numbers. And if you can
mhm.
measure those driving factors, you can actually have real impact on your business. So that's what that book taught me. It's like, take a look at the other stuff, start measuring. I have report cards for every single one of my employees, every single department. And every time I have a shareholders meeting, I'm presenting numbers about the company.
Wow. Wow. That's big. That's big. Okay, so you've got this book. Is there anything else that in your writing journey, because you shifted from, this powerful entrepreneur, right? Business associate, entrepreneur, now you're an author. What what would you share that you haven't already about your book from your your growth journey?
So there's a lot in the book. So let me take a step back and explain why I wrote the book, because I think that
Mhm.
that'll give you some insight as to how much is in the book. Because I there is facets of the book in my personal life. My struggle with weight is a big part. I used to
Mhm.
be 350 pounds.
Okay.
And I've tried everything you could think of. There is nothing I haven't tried to lose weight. I've lost 100 pounds multiple times. So there's a very important piece of the book. I talk a lot about
Mm.
nutrition and fitness in there. But the book was a period of my life where I was starting a business, and I had a lot of free time on my hands because you didn't have clients. You were trying to get these things off the ground. And I was sitting in my room one day, and again, I was looking at all the books that I've read. I started thinking to myself, I have 5 children. And I started thinking to myself, it's like, I'm 40 something years old. I think I was 42 years old at the time. It's taken me 40 years to amass all this knowledge. And there's a lot of stuff that's garbage. Like there's been a lot of books that I started and I'm like, this is crap. I don't want to read this, right? So I said, wow, my children have to go through a similar path in order to get to where I am today, right? And I was like, how many people have to go through a similar path? It's like, no. I got to do something to short circuit that, right?
Wow.
So I sat down and I wrote an outline of the things that I felt contribute to that person that comes out at times, right? You have this meeting and you're like amazing at it, or you have this presentation and you blow it out of the water. It's like, and afterwards you start thinking about, why can't I be that guy all the time? It's like, what is it about this moment, this time that is different than every other time where I just bombed it, right? And there are there's things in your life where, and going back to the 4 wheels, where you have a healthy body, you have a clear mind, you have peace in your heart, and you have all the knowledge you need in order to just be that perfect person, right? So the book has a lot in there. I think that, going back to your original question, there is many things about each of the wheels that I can cover. It's all about the things that I went through personally, and then how can I translate that for people. Once I wrote it for my children, every single one of my kids, except for my 6-year-old, has read it. So my 9-year-old has even read it. And I quizzed him on it. It's like, what did you get from it, right? And he's told me a couple things. I think he's going to have to read it again when he gets a little older. But there's a lot in there, and it's really short. You could read it on a plane ride. And I love it because it's exactly, I wish I had this when I started my job.
Oh, that's huge. That's really, really amazing that you've created that for your children, and to create that ripple effect of legacy of passing down this knowledge and wisdom. As we wrap up today, you had a very powerful shift around what was missing in your life. What would be your guidance, your coaching to those people who are listening, perhaps, and they're thinking, yes, there is something missing. What would you say to them?
The biggest thing, and I want everybody to really just think about this. It's never, ever too late. Okay. I have, and let's take it from another perspective. How many stories have we heard of an 18-year-old just building a unicorn, right? And then at 20 years old being a millionaire, and at 22 being a billionaire, right? There's plenty of stories like that. So don't ever think it's too late. Have a plan. Don't be spontaneous thinking that, you get all excited over this podcast or a book or something you read and like, I'm doing it. I quit my job. That's not the way to do things, right? A lot of stuff that I've done, the best stuff that I've done has been on the side, right? And then as you get traction, you start building it. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. Yeah, you're going to have to skip the TV. Yeah, you're going to have to skip that meeting up with your friends at the bar. But you do a little bit at that, in a little bit of time, it starts to grow, and then you put all your focus on it. But it's never too late, man. I don't care what age you are. I mean, I'm 47 years old now, and I still keep trying stuff, and I think that the best is yet to come.
That's big. The best is yet to come. I love that. I love that wisdom of, if you're feeling that pull, like something is missing in your life, embrace that. Don't just ignore it. Embrace it. Dig into that. Think about what that could be. What is missing? Is it better health? Is it time with your relationship? Is it starting a business? And go after it, because the best is yet to come, right? Okay. I love that. So how can people stay connected with you, Victor?
I'm all over the place. You could go to my website, accessingyourtruepotential.com, for the book. I am all over LinkedIn. Please connect with me and DM me. I'm not looking to sell anything. If you need help with it, technology or anything about the book or anything about entrepreneurship, DM me. I'm there to help. I was helping my hairstylist the other day. She was trying to create a website, and we had a whole conversation while she's cutting my hair. So please don't be shy.
Amazing, amazing. Well, it's so great to meet you, and you have a very powerful energy. I know the best is yet to come for you and for all the people that are listening. For everyone who's listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Power to the People Pleasers. Stay tuned to the upcoming podcast. Have a great day.